Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Invader, and he is in the Stalingrad, a tier 10 Soviet cruiser. He is on the map Ocean. Well, it's a 3-point domination game. There is a carrier, it's only tier 10 ships, and there is only one destroyer. Now, the friendly destroyer has already taken the sea cap, which is nice. The enemy destroyer is, well, I don't know where the enemy destroyer is. On the less bright side, we have a huge lemming train here going up towards the north. And we only have that one friendly division that's trying to... well, not lemming train so much. Like, if you form a big blob, you are easily surrounded. Like, if the enemy team would push up here a little bit towards the south, then they could easily catch those friendlies in a crossfire and absolutely devastate them. So it's important to have some ships a little bit on the other side to prevent things like that. Now we have Smolensk there inside his smoke screen, just pew-pewing away. That's always a dangerous thing, the DPM is just ridiculous. But on the bright side, Stalingrad has radar. Now obviously he needs probably like 3 kilometers more until he can radar. But he's also currently not detected. So we'll see how that goes. The enemy destroyer still hasn't tried taking a cap. And... oh, we have planes. But that looks like a rather depleted squadron. And more importantly, we now have the Smolensk in radar range. And it turns out that if you are a squishy cruiser and you're getting radared in your smoke, you are in a lot of trouble. Who knew? Now he's trying to dodge the carrier torps here, which means he is kind of turning away from the enemy cruiser, but you know, I think that Smolensk is done for anyway. So, nice. Now he is also broadside to quite a lot of ships there in the north, but they are relatively far away and it doesn't look like they have an interest in shooting him right now. So that's good news. And you know what? Maybe that friendly division can actually grab the... oh, look at that! The gearing has been spotted by the friendly carrier. And we have some nice citadels on a sailor. Now, of course, there in the north, it's basically a stalemate. Most of the enemy fleet has gone north too, so it's just like two fleets staring at each other over an open ocean and engaging in some long-range gunfighting. Now, since the friendlies control the sea cap, that's perfectly fine. It would be nice if they could stop the enemies from taking B, but seems unlikely right now. Maybe the friendlies can grab A, but also seems unlikely because, let's just face it, the Republic in there is going to get interrupted. A lot. But the good thing now is, like, the enemy never really spread out. The enemy just decided to form the same blob as the friendlies, and that means that friendly division here is actually able to get some crossfires going there. And put the whole enemy team in an awkward spot. Just by them being here, like all of those enemy ships should be like confused how to angle. And that's a good thing. Look at that, is that gearing actually coming this way? Now, we still need 27 seconds for another radar, but the gearing is now close enough, and if he isn't turning away soon, there's some potential in this. Also, the carrier is coming in again to play, and it looks like the gearing isn't really running away right now, which is a weird decision for the gearing. I mean, he's even firing his guns. I mean, he's firing his guns probably because he's detected by a carrier anyway. But still. Oh, the gearing is finally rising up and trying to get away. Radar would be ready, but the gearing is slightly too far away. I mean, he's still a spot. So I'm not sure why the gearing picked that fight. I mean, I see that he was spotted by a carrier there a bit. But the gearing could have just run for the smoke screen or run away. There were so many better options for him than to just stick around and gunfight. But good for the friendly team, because that was the only enemy destroyer. And somewhat disappointing salvo, but I mean, the Tintenburg is broadside to the whole friendly division here, and somebody will probably spank this guy. And look at that, we have another Smolensk here who is merrily pew-pewing away from smoke. But you know what? There is a radar ready. And when we look at minimap, I mean, I'm not sure is that last spotted position accurate, but I have a feeling there might be a radar in this Smolensk future. Meanwhile, Yoshino is trying to cap A, but like the friendlies just aren't sneaky enough to really take the Aetam. And of course, since this is open ocean, that means no matter where you are, basically the whole enemy team can shoot you. And there is the radar. So you have to be very careful how far you push. So first salvo, I mean the Smolensk doesn't have a lot of hit points, so even though this was 3 overpens in the pen, it hurt him quite a bit. And we will see. I mean, they are whittling this guy down. And they get him. There you go. Now Smolensk armor is pretty weak. So with the heavy cruiser guns, there should be some an overmatch going on, well, depending on where you hit. But I think you can overmatch the bow and the stern. So, meanwhile, by the way, the Yoshino is taking advantage of the enemy team not being anywhere close and is finally trying to take the A camp. Which is a good thing, because the enemy team is pushing C, and well, B is also in the enemy control. So there you go. Now on the right side we see like basically the cruisers, the friendly destroyer, they have all been farmed, and we only have the battleships that are desperately trying to be even further away than possibly can. We have this Thunderer who is trying to leave the map, that's not how it works. We have the brawling battleship Kremlin that's trying to hide behind the carrier. So yeah. I mean, I would argue that the friendly Republic here on the left side could be a little bit further away from the zone wall, but he is pushing towards the enemy, so that's fine, that's fine. He's even in front of his cruiser. I mean, imagine that, a battleship in front of a cruiser. It only happens when you division with them, I guess. Well, meanwhile, at least the carrier is getting some resets in. And yeah, I mean, we still have about half of ships on both teams remaining. And obviously, since there are no islands, it turns into some more long-range engagements. But the enemies there are getting low, so maybe some can be sunk pretty soon. So friendly Republic here going down, but he did quite a bit of tanking there, so that's nice. Unfortunately, now all of the enemies will focus on our poor Stalingrad. Well, our poor Stalingrad already tanked 2.2 million potentially, so I guess he is an honorable battleship here at least anyway. Meanwhile, the friendly carrier is looking where the enemy is coming from and is trying to retreat. The Kremlin is not deterred by that. He wants to be further behind, further back than carrier. So he is obviously still continuing this way. Because that's how battleships are these days. Well, maybe they've always been that way. Meanwhile, let's just see how Stalingrad performs against this Kurfürst. I mean, at this range, it's favored for the Stalingrad, I would say. Then again, if the Kurfürst gets a few more salvos like this, maybe not. Kurfürst is trying to get closer, which is smart. Kurfürst really wants to get his secondaries going in this fight, I assume. And he wants to actually hit stuff, which is not really that much guaranteed at this range in a Kurfürst. Now the Kurfürst is greedy, wants to use his rear guns too, so he's showing broadside. Stalingrad immediately goes for armor piercing. And let's just see, that looks promising. And it's why you shouldn't show broadside. Now, Friendly Republic actually entering the cap circle, so a bit late for him to be on the aggressive side, but at least better late than never, I guess. Kremlin might have finally given up trying to hide behind the carrier, because like there is nothing south of the carrier. So who knows, maybe this Kremlin will actually get close to something. The enemy Kurfürst managed to get close enough to be technically in second. Well, I mean, we don't know this Kurfürst's build. It's entirely possible he hasn't spec'd for secondaries. Secondaries is a bit of well, situational spec. And here we have torps incoming, probably from the Yoshino. Then again, I mean, at least probably wanted to angle against the Kurfürst anyway, so they aren't problematic. Armor piercing loaded, we have a broadside Kurfürst, and that Kurfürst is sinking. Unfortunately though, he's down to, well, a little bit below 5,000 hit points. He has no heals remaining. He's getting shot at by the remaining 2 ships there. He managed to drop into concealment. And it doesn't look like the carrier is coming this way to spot him. The problem is, like, he can't just sail away and heal up. There is no more heal. And while the friendly team does have a lead, the enemy still has 1 more cap. So, well, okay, that Kremlin goes down. So it's looking pretty good. I mean, we can kind of expect Stalingrad here to sink because there's a carrier, and the like with below 4,000 hit points. You shouldn't expect to survive the carrier. But hey, we got the Salem, who is probably too far away to shoot back. Well, we don't have a Salem anymore. Okay, so now it's only the carrier remaining. And even the friendly carrier is now going forward towards the cap circle. Because, well, I mean, at this point, the only thing that could really, I guess, wreck them is if they ignore the caps. Like, I mean, it's the carrier can still farm a ship or 2, maybe. So, let's just enjoy the sunset. Is it the sunset? Probably not. But anyway, let's just speed this up because this game is... and see if something interesting still happens. So we got the friendly carrier going in here to cap, which is a smart move at his part. We got the Kremlin who, well, he hasn't done anything so far, so he's continuing this trend. At least he has preserved his hit points. And yeah. Somebody's probably going to sink that midway, I would assume. And here we are with the results. 3,306 base experience for Invader here. Very nicely done by him. He achieved a Confederate, a Kraken in the first blood, scoring 226,000 points of damage. And I think he had there, what, like 3.2 million potential damage in the end. So he was like the tank, definitely the tank. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.